For a discussion. Over to you, Brenda.
Of course, it'll be a very exciting moment today because we have a female guest, because we are going to discuss women in agribusiness with a specific focus on farming and the opportunities around that. So Lucy Wangari is the lead consultant at Onion Doctor. She is also the founder of that specific entity. Welcome to the program, and it's such a pleasure having you on Business Cafe.
Thank you very much, Brenda. I look forward to a very good discussion.
All right, so Onion Doctor is a very interesting concept, but what I understand is that you grow the onions, at the same time you offer advisory services either through your YouTube channel or physically on the ground to upcoming new farmers. How exactly do you do that, and why have you decided to take that path?
It has been a journey, I won't lie. This is my year number 5 in the onion space, and since I left campus, I have not had any other avenue of making money other than through the onion value chain, and recently through talks and other opportunities, but talking about what I have done in the onion value chain. So 5 years down the line, just doing onions. So it has been a very interesting journey that began with, after I left JKUAT, I went to Israel for training, the agricultural training. I came back and immediately landed a job as a farm manager in Deya Veteran Farm. After two years and a few months, COVID happened. I lost my job. We had a lot of issues there, so there was resigning and stuff like that. After which I sat down and asked myself, so me as Lucy, what do I know? Because I'm not sure I want to go corporate. I'm not sure I want to start applying for jobs. So what do I know? And I realized out of everything that we grew and all the animals that we kept, at the end of the year, onion is what had most value in terms of money, input cost, profit margins. And at time, I was featured on Mugambo, I was featured on several avenues, of which now people started coming to Veteran Farm, and they would tell me, Lucy, can you come to my farm? I'm willing to facilitate for that.
And are these, because like you're saying, you had previous training and then you came back and then lost your job. When they see you, and of course you're offering these consulting services and you're a woman, do you find it difficult even to package your services in that perspective?
Yes, actually the first hurdle I had to overcome is being shy. I was shy and tiny, and the first job I got was management job. It wasn't comfortable because honestly agriculture is a very male-dominated area. So you would find me, by then I was 23, I'm there and I'm having a team of 12 guys. I'm commanding them, do this, do that, do this. It was terrible. I'm crying at night, waking up and going to the farm during the day. I'm farming, I'm following up payments from clients, I'm developing the whole farm, I'm looking for all this and that. So it was a really good opportunity for me to start life with, because I mean not so many people start life with a startup at managerial level, so it put me on the platform. So the first thing I had to overcome as a person was being shy. Another one was this feeling that we have as women, like we don't deserve per se. You're like akiwoshe. I don't have an English term for that word, but akiwoshe, there's that akiwoshe thing that we have.
Be nicer to me, I'm a woman. Is that how you make it feel?
No, I'm a woman, I can take less. There's always that thing of a man will come and say, this shoe is, I'm selling this program to you at 5 million. Give or take. But then when they will come to you, 5 is a lot, you're like, yeah, let's negotiate. There's always that thing that we had. I had to overcome it and have the boss lady attitude, which now I comfortably tell a client, this is this amount. They tell me you're expensive, I tell them it's fine, find someone else, I won't do it. So having that idea of understanding and knowing that we deserve it, that was something else that I also had to overcome as a woman in the space. Another one was emotional intelligence that comes with businesses. Today it's a high, tomorrow it's a low. The other day you're having terrible days, clients. You also sometimes disappoint clients, sometimes they disappoint you. So how do you strike a balance to understand that this is just business, it's nothing personal? And for a startup or for me as a founder, you have that baby, it's a baby you're creating. Before it has its own persona and becomes a thing, there's always that person that you are the business until the business is able to stand on its own.
All right, so let's talk about the services that you offer, these consulting services. Most of your clients or the people who you speak to, are they ladies, and Are they men? Are they a mixture of the two? What exactly do they ask you, especially when it comes to venturing into agribusiness?
My clientele is 50-50%. I'm very glad and happy that women are really taking up that space in agribusiness. I'm proud of that. So most of them, they say, I want to start farming as multiple source of income. Others, it's an early retirement plan. And others, they want to set up businesses for their people, their spouses, their relatives, and things like that. So it's always main of the three. But ideally, at the end of the day, it's a question of numbers. How much money am I looking at? That is the question I get most of the time. Yeah.
And so are women more likely to say yes as opposed to men? How exactly do they accept your services?
Most of them meet me on the online space. When they Google, that's when they meet me on the online space. So they go through my YouTube. So most of the time when a client calls me, they have a predetermined decision. It's just a matter of are your services affordable, or how much do I need to prepare so that I venture into it. Yeah.
All right. So like what you're saying, you had such a difficult time when you were starting over and venturing fully into this onion business. In your perspective, can you actually depend on it and say you're eking a living from it, or you have also other alternative sources of income?
100%. I do not have any other. I don't know any other thing as per now. I only depend on it 100%.
All right. Yeah. And has that been challenging? Because like you're saying, it was tough starting over, but now you have everything. By the time a business peaks, it has to go through all these stages, and it's not a straight line. What are some of the challenges that you had to overcome along the way that ensured you still maintained your business and your priorities?
Yes, it was hard. Of course, there's the money issue when you're beginning, but somehow it all works out. I don't know how to place it. I don't want to sound like a motivational speaker, but eventually it works out. The beauty about my business is I'm talking about something that you're going to eat during the day. I'm not forcing something new to people. I'm just making you aware that you can make a living out of it. So really for me, at the end of the day, it works out. But initially there was a lot of people asking, how are you going to make life out of one product? I mean, it's just an onion. How are you going to build something around it? But for me, I had a vision. Up to now, I know where the end goal is. So even if I see something flashy, like maybe dragon fruit today or something else tomorrow, I don't change my focus. I know what I want.
All right. Yeah. So the agriculture sector contributes about 40% to the gross domestic product, or the total number of goods and services produced within the country. But at the same time, majority of the people who are employed in this specific sector are women. Now, based on the fact that they either do it for subsistence farming, because majority of them are in the rural areas, or they either do it commercially, but not so many of them do this. What are some of the policies that can be put in place to encourage more women to take up agriculture?
The first one is always access. Access to funding, access to information, access to information markets, access to information, especially because information at the end of the day is what is going to guide you. Do you take a loan to do this? Do you find land? We'll say access to land, but now you can lease land. You don't need to own it. You can lease land. But then do you have the right information? Do you have the right agricultural practices? We call them gaps. So if women are just given a chance to have that information, access to information, to market, I think, and money, we would be good in terms of grants or small loans or loans that have a longer repayment period with short-term, something like that. Access is what we need.
What about from a policy perspective? Should there be a regulation that allows more women to take up these agriculture jobs?
Of course. And at the end of the day, when you look at policy, when you get to policy now, we get into the issue of what percentage is being left for women? What percentage is being left to encourage women? What incentives are these women being given at policy level to enable them to get into the agricultural spaces? Who do they look up to? That's also another question. Who? Because at the end of the day, when I see you here, Brenda, I'll be like, I can do news because I saw you doing news. So at the end of the day, at this policy level, how are we accessing inputs? As women, do we have platforms in which we can go and say, I'm a woman, I'm in agriculture, I'm doing this, come assess my farm, give me inputs? do we have such kind of policy? And at the end of the day, as much as we're saying we are women, how we have to, there are things that we must comply to. So how are we getting this information to know, for me to qualify for a loan or inputs or access, I need to qualify and have this and that. So what policies are there to enable us to do that? Yeah.
All right, and even as we finish, one thing that really stands out when it comes to women either doing business or either doing work at home is that there is a lot of unpaid work. So you happen to see the fact that, gender roles, because you're a woman, you're supposed to know what the family is eating within their household. So ideally, when people see you, they know automatically it's because you're producing it for your family or for your household. How can women be even more empowered so that they can also ask for their fair share of their pay, that we can stem off unpaid work?
All right. The first thing I think and I believe is you have to know that you're worth it. You have to know I'm enough, and you have to know this is how much I charge per hour. For example, there's no rate card that is given there out there for per hour. So you can stand and say, I charge this amount per hour. You have to believe in your services or what you're doing. If you're coming to farm in Milan, tell me per 3 hours I charge this amount. Believe that and do not take no for an answer. If someone wants less, let them look elsewhere. By us standing and taking up spaces unapologetically, that's the word. Take those spaces unapologetically, and the minute you stand there and you farm, people will respect you and will pay you for what you deserve.
Yes. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lucy Wangari. Of course, we have been discussing women in agribusiness, and Lucy Wangari has been giving some insights in relation to what women can do in relation to farming business within the country. At the same time, she is the founder and lead consultant at Onion Doctor. Quite an interesting name. But thank you so much for coming on to Business Cafe. So Abby, what are you looking at naming your next venture?
Well, I'm thinking of getting into a very interesting space, and this is doing what they call, I don't know the English name to it, but the Sheng version of it. It skips my mind. It skips my mind. But there's one guy who also really inspired me, and this is an artist that perhaps we all know, and he's doing very interesting farming down in Isinya. And one of these fine days, I'll be happy to go with Lucy to just also learn a lot when it comes to agri-business. All
right, Abby, so long as you're not thinking of creatives and singing, we support you, Abby. Thank you so much for having us on Business Cafe. I have been your host, Brenda Kerubo.
Well, you can only get such conversations here on Business Cafe every Monday to Friday from 9:30 a.m., I beg your pardon. Next week, we'll be discussing the scrap metal ban alongside a host of other topics. Make a date with us. Have a lovely day and enjoy your weekend. My name is Abby Gina. Keep safe.